Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. You're watching Seeing the Unseen. Now, last time on the show, we talked about, well, going over what the mind is capable of handling. It sort of inspired tonight's title, Maxed Bandwidth. And really, the mind is capable of just about anything we ask it to do. However, it's only able to handle so much at once. Now, once that red zone comes along where that threshold gets passed, everyone's experienced it. Once that comes along, anything that enters our awareness, friend or foe, is automatically perceived as a threat. So before you get there, remember to take lots of breaks before you need them. And just a reminder for anyone who's out there joining us for the very first time, be sure to say something in the chat so I know you're here. Going forward, the first time, of course, there's no charge for readings, but going forward after that, it's $10 per card, or you can pay $100 and cover the entire month, which gets you one card for every show 3 times a week. That's normally Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Arizona time. So, thanks for listening to me. Enjoy the show. Here's Christopher.
Hey, great blessings. Happy Monday evening, everyone. Here's the incense in honor of your restoration and healing. So, maxed bandwidth. It's okay to say, you know what, I just don't have the bandwidth for that right now. People can't argue with that. They understand it, in fact. And just to give you an illustration, I learned years ago in going to Disneyland, as soon as you get there, if you're there before the park opens, it's kind of a wild ride. It keeps you busy, you get exhausted. And so I found that to survive it, I usually get a hotel by Disneyland, if not in Disneyland, and take a couple of hours in the afternoon to go take a nap or just to go get away. Because up until about, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., you're going, and you can become maxed. Excuse me, your bandwidth gets maxed. And then you go back. You go back at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and you feel refreshed. You feel like you can do this again. And I think this is especially true like with so Marilyn and Abby are on the show. So Marilyn and Abby and Doreen's on the show. So I know, Doreen, you adopt your big adoption for animals and for dogs, and so do Abby and Marilyn. And so Abby and Marilyn had this puppy that they rescued and fostered and then found a home for it. But it just wasn't fitting in with the household or the other dogs. Animals get maxed. Animals are very, very healing. And I know this to be true. I've seen this before in my family. In dogs and animals, cats will do what they can to protect you from things that you cannot see and from energies. So I'll give you an example of this. In my, we lived in this haunted house. If you've all read my book, pretty much I think all of you have. We would have these horrible footsteps or horrible pounding on the doors, and the dogs would go freak. They would go hide. Then there was a time when I was laying on the couch. I was home alone. It was night. And my little dog, little black dog, went to the middle of the living room and stood up on its haunches and was like pawing the air, like somebody was standing there and it was like pawing their legs. And then this soldier appeared. Well, I kind of freaked out. The dog was fine. So my point of this, of telling you this story, if animals can get maxed out, we can get maxed out, and it's okay. You just say, you know what, I don't have the bandwidth for that right now, and walk away. When you think about toddlers, right? Toddlers get maxed. They get overstimulated. It's nap time. Tell your toddler it's nap time. Take a break, because the group card tonight is about forgiveness. It's redemption, renewal, and reprieve. So we came up with the title of the show. Ken and I, we talk about it, and how we can all get maxed. And then you go, wait a minute, where is this energy off? Why are we maxed here? And then this group card comes up. It has to do with forgiveness.
Question from Lindsay. She says, what if you're not able to walk away?
So if you're not able to walk away, Lindsay, that's a great question. That's what we're getting into, is be aware of it. So if you're not able to walk away, all right, maybe
extrapolate on getting behind things.
What's that?
Getting behind the thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
How do you do
Thank
that?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kennan's talking to me. I don't know if you can hear him, but it's being aware of your thoughts. So thoughts are like this waterfall. If you think of this waterfall, what you want to do, Lindsay, is picture going behind the waterfall and observing your thoughts about what this person or this situation or this energy is saying or doing. And once you're aware of it, you don't have to interact with it. It's like observing a WWE fight rather than being in the ring during the fight. Think of it like that. Because a lot of these people, they're wanting, or these situations, they're wanting energy. And if they have gotten energy, whether it's positive energy in the past, they will do anything they can in order to get more of that energy. We talked about this last night. Whether that's negative or positive, they want the energy, they want the attention. And this is where the forgiveness comes in. And it is so what I'm saying is, if you can't physically walk away, you can mentally walk away from it. Interesting point of view that you have that point of view. Wow. You know what? That's just not my policy.
Yeah, like when things were thrown at her, so she had to reply too. She said she could physically, that's not the right thing.
So I mean, I could physically, but there's not the right thing to do. But that's not the right thing to do. I can't abandon my kids or my job. No, of course not. And I've done all the positive outside thinking. Things are thrown at me. Does that make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. So, good. Thank you, Lindsay, for interacting here. I don't know that we're talking about separate things, right? Remember last night it was no separation, right? So this is about restoration, healing, and being aligned with the revival of all of the core levels of one's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual healings. It's just taking a break. So sometimes you're up at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, you know you have to get up at 5 o'clock. If you just lay in bed and go, you know what, I'm going to sleep body, and when I wake up, I'm going to feel like I've had 10 hours of sleep. This is, I'm not saying it's easy, Lindsay. This is going to take discipline, but it's the awareness of it. It's absolutely the awareness of it. Do you have anything to say or add? If you do, just
No,
holler.
that's good. That's
Okay.
the awareness. It's like the Homo sapien sapien thing.
Yeah. It's the Homo sapien sapien thing. Let me explain that. We're Homo sapiens, but the sapien part is that we are aware, we can be aware of our thoughts. We can go behind the waterfall and observe our thoughts. It takes practice, it takes discipline, but this is all coming down to forgiving yourself. And eventually, you stop creating situations where you're blaming yourself, or you're not doing something right, or you're doing something wrong, or you're in a wrong or bad situation, or there's all this drama. It's releasing the emotional baggage. And the first step to that is just being aware, you know what? I have this emotional baggage. Like I went through this weekend, I went through all my drawers and gave to Goodwill things that I haven't worn in 1 or 2 years. And I just cleaned out my drawers. It's like being aware of it first. Do I really need this? And then being able to get rid of it. But it takes practice. And the first thing is just being aware of it. It's like Kenan, when he first started weightlifting, he did not have a good trainer. And it actually hurt him because he was told to train a certain way. Then he actually got a professional Navy SEAL trainer that's actually really, really helping him. And so it's unlearning the ways that we've dealt with before, but being aware of them. Okay. I hope that helps. Okay. We've got Rochelle's on first tonight. And it does. It takes practice. It's taken me many years to get there. So don't give up on yourself. You're getting better and better every day. And some of these energies, if any of you have read Alberto Villoldo, could you put that in the chat? Alberto Villoldo, I've talked to him about him on the show before. I know Marilyn Pitts, you've got one of his books. He's a medical anthropologist. And Lindsay, this information may help you as well. And so he was going down to Peru. He was planning a trip to Peru. And before he got on the plane, one of his colleagues gave him a couple of brain cells from a woman that had passed from an overdose. And so Alberto didn't have time to take it back to his lab, so he just put it in a suitcase and thought, well, I'll take it to Peru with me. When I get back from Peru to the United States, I'll take it to my lab. Well, when he walked into the shaman's cottage, the shaman started screaming at him and saying, why did you bring this woman in here? What is she doing? Why is she here? What did you do? What did you do? And Alberto's like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. He goes, you brought a piece of her. She's attached to her cells. And so the shaman actually had to do a ceremony to release that energy. So keep working on yourself. Kenan and I have devoted the last 30 years, and we've spent tens of thousands of dollars on seminars, on energy work, on being around masters and people that get it or that have gotten it, so that we can learn and be taught by these masters. Our place here is filled with artifacts from temples. And I'll tell you one story. But when you set, my point of telling you all this story is when you set the intention. When my son was born, I was the most anally retentive missionary you could possibly imagine. And when he was born, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I've got to do something. I have got to do something. I'm not going to live like this anymore. I'm not going to live in denial. I'm not going to put up with this drama. This is when I mentioned this on the show before. They used to call me the Crisco kid. I could never stay present. And I knew I had to do something about it because I could not raise my son in this atmosphere. And so the teacher, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and they absolutely appear. That's what I wrote my book about. So I got off on a tangent here. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not right versus wrong situations. Okay. So it's just, so you take one situation at a time, Lindsay. That's it. Just one. Thanksgiving meal. If you invite the family over, it's potluck. Everybody brings one thing. You work on just one thing. Otherwise, you get too overwhelmed. So, but this is the main, it's about forgiving of yourself. Okay, so send you all lots and lots of energy toward doing that. Okay, Rochelle, here we go. So, Rochelle, our humanity's time space is not, it's a construct, right? It's not, it's really a contrived situation. I think, I know when we get to the other side, we understand these constructs that we were in, these limiting belief systems. Anywhere, Rochelle, where things aren't happening fast enough, or they're going too slow for you, or some things are happening too fast, or they're happening all at once. So I like this illustration about the waterfall with your thoughts and getting behind the waterfall. Just doing an exercise of getting behind the waterfall, just doing a meditation of behind the waterfall. That the realm you're in, or you're moving to, Rochelle, is beyond space-time. This is where miracles occur. This is where miracles don't follow the rules of time and space. So that whole saying, expect miracles, are we all willing to expect miracles? And what are we focusing our energy on? Are we focusing our energy on the situation and feeding the situation, or go, wait a minute, what's behind this? What's behind the waterfall? Or this is less judgment on yourself. So you can't go 90 miles an hour during rush hour in a traffic jam, right? But when you're on an open highway, you can go 90 miles an hour. My point of telling you this, Rochelle, is you're still moving forward. If you're in rush hour and you're moving 30 feet every 10 minutes, you're still moving forward. Okay? You're moving forward. And so sometimes things don't seem to be moving as quickly as they should, according to us, but it's going to move according to the space. So allow yourself more space. And I'm talking to everybody on the show tonight. Allow yourself more space. Because that's where miracles slip in. And the miracles don't follow our time and space rules. All right, Tiffany, thanks for being here. And thank you for your contribution, by the way. So the Tower card, I think because you're such an incredible research as a doctor, research Ilya Prigogine. Could you spell that? Prigogine. Illya. I think it's Ilya. Ilya Prigogine. Tiffany. He studied one of the, he was a Nobel Prize winner, but one of the things that he wrote about was dissipative structures. So for something to be created new, there has to be a dissipation of structure. Things have to be, you buy property and there's an old house on it, you want to build a new house, you tear down the old house, you build the new house. It's the dissipative structure. And chaos is one of the major facilitators for change. So he'd gone down to South America. He was studying these brown beetles that lived on the brown log. I've talked about this on the show before. When you hit the log, the brown beetles fly up. They create chaos, and when they land on leaves or flowers, they turn the color of that flower. They turn the color of that leaf. So that chaos led to dramatic changes. So sometimes, we go, well, we really don't want to upset the cart. But sometimes you need to upset the cart. You don't have to be crucified for it. But you have to go in to the temple and overturn the tables of the money changers. So you are here to shake things up, to let people go. And this could be firing them, allowing them to move on. Because there's a dissipative structure, and one of your fortes is to help people facilitate that dissipative structure and not get involved with it. Again, like Rochelle's card, stepping back, allowing them to go through it, because we've all been through major dissipative structures, divorces, deaths, you name it. We've all been through these major dissipative structures. Allow that to happen and welcome the dissipative structure, because it's going to create something brand new for you when it's happening with your life, but also an understanding that, especially if we have our own company or we are on our own job, there are people we have to let go, or there's people that we just simply, they will fall off, or they need to fall off. That's a dissipative structure. Okay, Danny. So before I started this intense work with myself and with Kenan, I did like 3 years of something called, I became certified in, you know what, I won't even tell you what it is. I just became certified in a healing methodology. And it really seemed to work, and it really worked for like a day or two. And then it was back to the old thing. So I knew I was not getting to the core. I knew I was not getting to the core because it was all in the mind. So it's like mom coming home and she's ticked. She's mad because she told you to do the dishes and she told you to vacuum and she told you to clean your room and wash the clothes. And you see her pulling up the driveway and you get the vacuum out. And she's pissed. When she walks in, she's really mad because the dishes aren't done, your bedroom's not cleaned, but you've done what you thought you should do, or at least gets credit for. This is going deeper, Diane. This is absolutely going deeper. Because the mind, here's the thing with the mind, everyone. The mind's number one job is to protect itself and to protect you and to protect your body. So it's going to give you carrots, but it's not going to give you a Thanksgiving meal. It's going to give you bits and pieces so you can think that you're making progress, but this is like authorizing the core. Like this brilliance card is, we're all really smart, but if it was something we could figure out, we would have had this solved years ago. We would have had our lives all figured out, all solved. It's not anything you can figure out. This is all energy. This is the whole thing behind my show. And Kenan and I, we're putting out this tremendous energy to help every one of you to be able to, I mean, he's over there, he's off to my right, but he's actually working with you and for you energetically to make these changes. And I know because I've gotten texts from pretty much all of you. Okay, who's next?
Yeah, Marilyn.
Hey, Marilyn. All right, my dear. And thank you, by the way, for your donation. I really appreciate it. So, you know, Marilyn, how you do these patchwork quilts and you put these pieces together? Please start writing paragraphs. You don't have to write books. You don't have to write pages. But just start writing short stories. This is as the preserver card, this is doing something for your kids, for not just your kids, but for it's like leaving treasures for years down the road for your children's 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 children or other people's children that find these little tidbits, find these little pieces of insight and knowledge. What you've experienced is really important. I'm really getting very strongly to start recording these stories. Look into a tape recorder. Just even speak into the tape recorder to tell these stories. Then there's software that can translate it into writing. Please, very strongly, highly recommend you do this. It was the recording of medical research that brought medicine to where it is today. It's why nurses, doctors go years and years to school to study this research that's been done. This is a spiritual research, and recording it, Marilyn, is really important for you. But not just important for you, it's important for your family, but it's important for the human family. Okay? And anywhere where you say I'm not a good writer, can you cancel, clear, delete that? Okay, thank you.
You got Lindsay next, and she was saying something earlier too.
Okay.
So, and Marilyn says she used to record stories for her kids when they were small, so she could play whenever they want.
Oh, that's so great, Marilyn. They used to record stories for your kids. So do that. That's a brilliant idea. Do that, and you can have them burned on CDs.
And then Lindsay says, or said earlier, it's her turn now, but it's just so many situations back to back, and it's been like this her whole life. It's taken steps back, practicing on internalizing it. It's become harder to think positive and not think she's doing something wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, she's trying her best.
Yeah. So you're doing your best, Lindsay. So you're coming up next here. You know what? We all get tired. That's what I'm saying. That's why I use the illustration with Disneyland. Take a 2-hour nap, then you can go back to Disneyland. This is just taking a break, but watch what you're saying. Especially when you write it out, like in the chat, that's like solidifying it in the universe. So when you're saying it's getting harder and harder, can you cancel, clear, delete that? Are you willing to cancel, clear, delete that? Because that's about moving the energy, and because we've all been there. We've always been there. And again, you got the creativity. So after the show, go spend 20 minutes in your drawing or painting or throwing paint. This is getting into your creativity. Okay? Because you've got hopefully at least another 40 years on the planet. Do you want to continue to repeat the past 40 years? No, you take all those lessons, you take all those paint colors and all those brushes and all those canvases that you've created or collected, and you put them to good use. How am I going to use this? Because we all get tired, we all get wiped out. But this is your creative outlet, and that's your link to source. So get back into source, everything else falls away. Okay, Austin. And I loved it today, Lindsay, where like yesterday it was the Assyrian what was it? Today is
New Year, yeah.
is the Assyrian New Year. And the Assyrian came up yesterday. Which is interesting, Lindsay, because it goes back to Samaria. So anywhere, are you willing to let go of anywhere where any of these energies, even from a past life, have clung to you? Are you willing to just simply let go and let go? Go, be free of getting into the head, right? This is simply on an energetic level, just let it go. When you, it's like letting go, when you let go of, okay, let's just say when you use the restroom. It just literally comes naturally. Your body, your brain wants to let go of this. Just allow it. Simply allow it. Okay. All right, Austin. So, again, this is called set back, but it's actually sit back, Austin. Man, we are so trained. We are so trained. We've got to do something. We've got to fix it. We've got to, and to let somebody else fix it, or to allow energies to come in from the universe, angels, guides, to fix it while we sit back. It may not be in our nature because of the way we've been nurtured, nature, right? If we've had examples behind us in families where we constantly have to do, or we're performing to be loved, or we're trying to fill in for an absent parent, whether they were mentally, emotionally absent or physically absent, anywhere where we've tried to fill in, this is, and it's very great that it's right with Lindsay's card, where it's like simply allow the self-worth to come in to where you deserve to be served. You don't go to someone else's party and begin to serve everybody. You go to a party to be served. When I lived in China, we would be invited out to these dinners. And the custom was, the custom was to allow the host, whoever invited you, to pay for everybody. And that was really a hard concept. But then you learn that everybody takes turns doing the dinner, and one day will come your turn, right, where you pay for everybody's dinner. But until then, sit back and it's like the Teslas, right? The self-driving cars. That's really hard to get used to, right? And I don't know, maybe this is you getting a Tesla. Or have you been thinking about it? But it's this allowing the universe to serve you. It's simply allowing the universe to serve you. Are you willing to do that? And you know what? We are constantly moving forward. So I'm talking to Lindsay and you. And I use this illustration, I think, with Rochelle, where when you're in the car and you're in a traffic jam, you're not going backwards. You're inching forward. But are you judging it on the scale that you're not moving at 90 miles an hour? So be free of the scales. Be free of the scales. Focus on, I'm moving forward. Because if you're focusing or even saying that you're moving backward or going backwards, the universe will create it. We are the creators of what we're saying. So if you want something different, I didn't know how it was going to happen, but when Kenan was born, I knew I was going to move forward. And there were years where I thought I was moving at 2 miles an hour. And I probably was, spiritually. But then you start getting the momentum. All right, my dear Marilyn and Abby. All right, Abby. This is illumination. What are those paintings called, or those drawings that have the hidden images?
The magic eye.
The magic eye. Remember years ago they had these magic eye posters, and they were just like a jumble. It looks like a jumble of colors, or a jumble of one color with just weird shapes in it. And you would stare at this magic eye. So I'm talking to everybody on the show right now. I'm looking at the list. Rochelle, Tiffany, Diane, Marilyn, Lindsay, Austin, Marilyn, Abby, Doreen, Jessica, Sonia, Ashley. All right. Remember those things? Well, you still see them. And you like stare at it and stare at it and stare at it. Ain't getting nothing. It's just like a jumble. It looks like a mess. But if you walk away, you'll never see the picture. You relax your eyes. When you're trying to see something in this picture, you usually don't see it. It's when you soften the eyes and you relax, the picture appears. We've all had that experience. So Abby, let's talk about Callie, this dog. So we were talking earlier about dogs filtering or absorbing energy to protect their owners. So this is your illumination. There's something important for you to see with this dog. There's a reason it's coming back to you after it was adopted. There's a reason it's coming back to you. Soft focus on it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And Marilyn can really help you with this. You don't know what that dog has on it, or what it has tried to protect its owners from in the past, or what it has encountered. Because dogs, cats, animals see things that we cannot see. Absolutely. They are protectors of us. And taking a look at what this is activating, where this dog has been and how many places it's moved around to, or the violence or abuse or whatever it's seen or experienced.
At least that she hears you loud and clear, and that she truly believes that, yeah.
So this is where exactly, Lindsay. I love that. I'm gonna go back a minute to what Lindsay just said, or let others fix themselves. So anywhere where you feel that you have to fix this dog, okay, that's it. Are you willing to release, clear, destroy, and uncreate all of that? And anywhere where you have believed you've had to fix situations, oh, this is what this is. I release and clear, destroy, and uncreate anywhere where I've tried to fix things, or I release, clear, destroy, and uncreate the need to fix things. It's a trained or learned behavior, and when it's okay to fix the plumbing. I'm not saying that. But when there's a need to fix other people or situations or that type of thing, this is drawing your focus back, Abby. And I'm talking to Marilyn too. It's like looking at that magic eye, that painting, softening your focus and allowing these other angels, and Austin, I'm talking to you too, allowing these angels, these guides, these ancestors to come in and assist you. To come in and go, okay, right here is the lion's ear on the magic eye, right? That they start pointing out. And once they start pointing where the animal is in the magic eye, then you can begin to see it too. Okay. Woo! Good one. All right, Marilyn. Yeah. So, Marilyn, I love your brain. You got the analytic, math, logical, and you can put texture to so sometimes these spiritual matters are very abstract for people. They don't get it. So they need more of a structure, like to be able to understand it. And you have that ability where you can make it more like a story. Okay, it's like somebody has this hammer, and rather than go into the spiritual significance of the hammer, you go, okay, you see this end of the hammer that's flat, has an iron on it, that's where you hit the nails. Okay, the other thing that has a claw on it, that's where you pull the nails out. They simply need that very simplistic construct first to then go into, well, you got to hit the you got to hit the nail on the head, right? Those abstract concepts, they need to understand first what a hammer does, and that's where you can't assume that people know what you take for granted. And I'll tell this story before. I'll tell this story. This woman came to me, and I kept getting this story about, tell her she's attracted to the same sex. Tell her she's gay. Tell her she's gay. Tell her she's gay. And I'm like, no. And I'm literally arguing with spirit. I'm arguing with this message, going, no, I'm not going to say that. They would know if they were gay. They would absolutely know. I'm not going to tell them that. That's, no. I had my boundaries. In Maryland, they just would not. I mean, it would just, and I'm saying, you're gay. And she started bawling. And she's like, that's why I came to see you. Because I've been fighting with this my whole life. That's what I came to see you for. So I was assuming, I was making an ass out of me. I was assuming that this woman should know that. Or, you know what I mean? No, people don't know that. This is your forte. This is your inventor card. Okay. All right, my dear Doreen. All right. So, Doreen, because you're a world-renowned chef, I'm going to tell you kind of the same thing. When you first start cooking, right, you go and you spend lots of money on cooking paraphernalia. And one of the things you buy is a thermometer. And you put it in the roast, you put it in the chicken. And then you read the recipe book and you go, oh my God, okay, this is, it has to be at, I don't know, so many degrees. And then it's done. Well, after a while, you don't need the thermometer. Your life experience goes, it's done. Because you've cooked a lot of chickens. Right? You just know from experience. This is going back even to Lindsay about, this is your experience using, it's trusting your gut. Be free of second guessing your gut, and then you become more and more sensitive. You drive. You know when the light's going to change. and you know exactly how long it's going to take you to get through that intersection without going through the red light. Now, when you start sensing at another level, you want to second guess yourself. You want to keep checking the thermometer. At this level, there is no thermometer. There's no tachometer. There's no speedometer. You guys, every one of you on the show, when you reach certain levels, there's not. You want there to be a gauge, you want there to be a measurement, but you're moving Doreen into the twilight zone. and we talked about, I think it was with Austin, right, where these miracles slip in, or Tiffany, right, where these time space. Yeah, Rochelle, it was time space. It was time space where these miracles slip in, and they go against the rules of time and space. And you're wanting to question them. Stop questioning them. Or stop trying to figure them out. And just go, you know what? I feel a little dizzy today. Okay, this energy is moving. So it's like in an elevator, Doreen. When you get into an elevator, especially the really fast ones for the tall buildings, the only sense of movement sometimes that you get with these new ones is you get dizzy, or you have this weird sensation, but you don't really have a feeling that you're going up. But you just kind of, okay, that's what it's like. That's what these spiritual downloads feel like. That's what like trusting your gut feels like. I'll give it to you that, okay? Hey, Jessica, welcome back. Thanks for being here. Okay. Favorite card in the deck? This is my personal favorite. But it is the fortune card. So look at how fortunate you've been. And when you look at the fortune, when you look at the smallest thing, it begins to multiply. When you think about a blade of grass, that blade of grass is spreading and it's growing more grass. This is when you bless what it is you do have and are grateful, absolutely grateful, your fortune begins to accumulate. But it happens first in the underground. Let me explain that. It happens in the unseen. So you cannot see the roots of a tree. You can't see the roots of grass. It's below the surface. As fortune accumulates for us, when we focus on this one blessing, this one thing that we do have, I mean, it could be as simple as a blouse, right? Your favorite blouse. Start there. Then it begins to put a root system out. When you are focusing on the negative, or something comes up, then it's like grass killer comes in and starts to whittle away at the roots, and then it just diminishes again. And then you start all over. Please, look at your fortune. Your fortune is going to be increasing, but not just in money. It's in relationships. And letting go of those old relationships, or how your family was or used to be, in any way, shape, or form that you think that you have to carry on that legacy. Are you willing to destroy and uncreate all of that? Okay, Sonia, thanks for being here, my dear. So 2 cards fell out for you, Sonia. This is the growth card. So when things die, whether it's relationships, situations, circumstances, the past, think of it as planting it in the ground and fertilizing it for the new growth. And be free. Are you willing to let go of the... Okay, what's happening here is you're a rocket right now. If a rocket succumbs to the gravitational force of the field, it's going to crash and burn. Don't look back. Don't look around. Don't turn around. Think of it as a horror story. Okay? You just keep moving forward and you don't look back. Okay? You're climbing a cliff. You look up, you don't look down. So Sonia, move forward, be free of looking back. Are you willing to easily and comfortably let go of all regrets? Because I will tell you this, Sonia, you did the best you could have done. You are doing the best you can do right now. Give yourself a little credit. Everybody on the show, are you willing to pat Sonia on the back? And as well as we're at it, pat yourselves on the back. Can I pat yourself on the back? Okay. And this is life emerging from you. You're done being crushed. You're done being spoken badly of or to. You're done. You're done being crushed. This is growth, life, and when an egg breaks from the inside out, it's life. When an egg is crushed from the outside in, it's death. This is you. This is every one of us. I'm blessing every one of you with this life from the inside out. This is breaking through the shells, letting go. Are you willing to let go of the regrets or the nostalgia? The coulda, woulda, shouldas. Oh yeah. You're really good at this, Sonia. You're good. All right, my dear Ashley. I love this, you guys. This is a great show for Monday night. So, and Ashley, you got a couple cards, both of you. I mean, you got 2 cards. So this is Lovers. So the group card tonight was the forgiveness card. Okay. If you missed the beginning of the show, this was forgiveness. It was the redemption, renew, and reprieve. Then you've got the Lovers card. Forgive and forget, because you've got ecstasy ahead of you. Period. So, Kenan started the show by saying that 51st thing, Ashley. And we talked about this last night, right? Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's the other person, or sometimes whatever it is. Help me out here, Kenan. It's the shoelace breaks, the car doesn't start, you spill coffee on yourself, you have a flat tire, and that's only 4 or 5 things. But by the 50th thing, the nicest person could come up to you, and because that person is the 51st thing in your day, you can lose it. Like you get totally maxed, right? That's why the title of the show is Maxed Bandwidth. And Lindsay, I love your take on this too. We all get maxed. That's why we titled the show. Other people get maxed. Give them that forgiveness like you would forgive yourself because you got maxed. You just didn't have the bandwidth. So you meet somebody on the street actually, and they're from Russia, and they're like, "Oh my God, did you see the Russian ballet last night on channel blah blah blah?" And you go, "No, I don't get that channel because you don't have the bandwidth, right? You understand that it's not wrong or bad. It's just the bandwidth, right? So this is upping your bandwidth, and ecstasy is the outcome. And again, I'm pulling this for you, but the fortune card, the ecstasy card, it's for all of you. All right. All right. All right, my dear Lanny. Thank you so much for your contribution. I love you dearly. I appreciate it. That does so help us keep the show going. Okay. Be free of praying for courage. Never pray for strength. Never pray for courage. Because the universe will then give you things to be courageous about and give you things to be strong about. You are courageous. You already are courageous. Step up and say something. You know that old commercial, Lana, on TV? People would be like walking down New York Street, and all of a sudden, E.F. Hutton would speak, and everybody would freeze and listen. And the whole theme of their whole byline, their tagline was, "When E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen." When Lana speaks, people listen. Speak up. You are courageous. There's something that needs to be said to a few people. You can be kind. I'm not saying be mean and courageous. I'm saying be kind and courageous. That's the key here. And so, and Lana, tell it like it is. Tell it like it is. You're John Wayne toilet paper. You don't take the crap off of nobody. And you don't need to. Because you're really a kind person at heart. That's all that matters. But there were many times Christ, turned the tables over in the temple, right? It's like, if you read any of the masters' stories or biographies, there were times when they needed to kick butt, and they did. All right, is Kat and Jared here too?
I think so.
Okay, we got Kat and Jared. Amanda.
New person, yeah.
Amanda.
Z.
Amanda Z. Amanda, welcome to the show. All right, Kat, Jared. I know it's late where you guys are at. Thanks for being here. Dr. J. Yeah. So this is the card Austin got last night, which was the Assyrian New Year. Lindsay, thank you, by the way, for bringing that up, because it kind of blew my mind. All right, Jared, look at the bigger picture here. And Kat. So this is for you and Kat. Jared, this is for you and Kat, both of you. When you're looking at history, did history work out or didn't it work out? Well, we're here. So I think it kind of worked out. And I'm not talking about having an airy-fairy, everything's fine, everything's good, it's all going to work out. No. The tools will be given to you at the right time. Trust the timing. It's still moving forward with your craft, but this is where the miracles slip in. Expect miracles. I easily and comfortably create miracles. Money will come from money will come from a source you're not expecting, like magic. Okay? So, Jared, we talked about you blessing the house. Bless the land. Put a blessing on the land. Big area. Put a blessing on the land. Put a blessing on the business and on the land around the business. And Kat, so if you're going to build a house, Lana, right? You want to check out the elevation of the land. Because if you buy land in summer when it's dry season, you're going to, wow, this is really a beautiful field. But then you find out later it's actually a swamp. No wonder there's so many pretty flowers and wonderful, beautiful green grass. So, energy, well, you understand this, that water, when it rains, it settles into the lowest areas. This is energy, Kat, settling into some low areas. And it's weird. It's strange. So you remember when years ago, or 2 years ago, when I started this show, I started in a studio, and there was this ghost there that many people had seen, but it always stayed in the same area, and it was in the back of the studio, in the last hallway. It would walk back and forth, and a lot of people had seen it. And it was like a pool of stagnant energy or leftover spiritual fumes. I don't know how to describe this, Kat, but they would stay just in that one area. Go through Jared's office slowly, just walk through and notice if you feel any stagnant energy. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Some people sense it, some people smell it, some people see it or feel it. Don't question it, be free of questioning it, and then get the dry vac, get the wet vac, the spiritual wet vac. I don't care how you imagine it, but move that energy for that never to return. You want to raise that energy in that spot. There's actually a few places in the new place and in Jared's office. Yeah. Yeah. I actually can. So I might call you tomorrow. But what I'm seeing is in the far right hand, like when you walk in the front door, like the middle of the office or the building, the middle of the building, the far, you know what? There's a few places. Trust your gut on this. Trust your gut. Clear that out. But the sorrow card, there's sorrow there. There's like a stagnant energy that needs to be cleaned up there. Okay. Amanda Z, thank you for being here for the first time. Welcome to the show. It's okay to move. It's okay to change. You're safe You're safe. You're safe with the change. When you look back on your life, Amanda, there have been so many changes throughout your life. How many places you've lived, how many clothes you've bought, how many different shoes you've worn, how many, the jewelry, the cars, how many different cars you've had. There's been this constant change. There's this chariot, it's moving you along. You've authorized it, your higher self has authorized it. It just is taking a little bit for your physical body and your mind to catch up with it. But it's moving you to a much better place, a much better spot, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. It's the chariot. It's moving you along. And leaving behind people, situations, places that no longer serve you to your best and highest. Wow. Fantastic show tonight. We'll do this again Wednesday. Love you all.